Is this Robert Burns' greatest monument?
This is Robert Burns, celebrity awful enthusiast, lover man, and Scotland's national bard. And this is the House of Bruar, a posh department store in the middle of nowhere. It serves a decent coffee, and it's next to something pretty special.
It's Burns night tonight, so there will be undoubtedly haggis on offer in my house.
And in an effort to preemptively burn some of that off, I thought I might get out and about.
I'm just about walking properly now after a stupid back injury on the 1st of January. Some say this is the best walk in Perthshire.
That's a bit of a boast, so let's see how it stacks up. It's around a 1.5 mile trek to see the falls, and a lot of it's uphill, perfect for burning off haggis bulk. Even future haggis bulk.
Robert Burns was born 267 years ago this very day, and he was well known in his lifetime. He published his first collection, poems chiefly in a Scottish dialect, in 1786. And he became famous really quickly. In order to capitalise on that success, he took himself off to Edinburgh and performed readings in front of potential patrons. Everyone wanted to meet him, and some of them wanted to give him money. The life of an 18th century poet was kind of precarious and depended a lot on patronage from the rich and powerful, so meeting them was kind of important. Burns was a bit of a rock star in his day, and like all good rock stars, he was desperate to go out on tour.
In 1787 he hit the road. He went to the Scottish borders, to northern England and the West Highlands, but the biggest tour he did was an epic 600-mile trip a couple of literary figures had done before him. The Highland Tour. To modernise with modern maps, it looks a bit confined, missing out quite a lot of the Highlands, but this was in the days before proper roads, sat-nav and tour buses.
He stayed with all the bigwigs and saw places like Dromossie Moor, where the Battle of Culloden had happened only 40 years before. His father's family had been connected to the Jacobites. He went to Cawdor Castle, the place where Shakespeare set Macbeth, and he came here and stayed with John Murray, the 4th Duke of Atholl.
He travelled with his friend William Nicol, a bad-tempered schoolmaster he liked so much he named his third son after him. He wrote about the tour in a 35-page journal.
This part of Scotland is very touristy these days. It looks like what you would imagine the Highlands to look like. There are people wearing tweed and driving around in Land Rovers. There's a lot going on in nearby Pitlochry, but that's kind of a Victorian invention. In Burns' day, this was quiet, and the falls behind me ran over a barren moor. Burns wasn't impressed, and he wrote about it in his journal, saying that the Bruar Falls in Atholl are exceedingly picturesque and beautiful, but their effect is much impaired by the want of trees and shrubs.
When he travelled further north to Inverness, he wrote The Humble Petition of Bruar Water, an 11-verse poem told from the point of view of the cascading river.
In the poem, the river asks the Duke to plant some trees to stop the fish being beached on the rocks, to allow wildlife a better home, and to save its embarrassment when seen by wandering bards.
It was only after Burns' death in 1796 that the Duke finally planted some trees here. He was known as the Planting Duke and planted 20 million trees over an area of 16,000 acres on his estates.
But he wasn't one for boring gardening. He didn't like to mess around with floral gloves and gardening forks. He didn't like to waste time. His solution was a bit unorthodox. He came up here with a cannon, packed it with seeds, Scots pine, European larch and wadding, and he blasted his concoction across the bare hillside. I'm going to be honest, I'm not much of a gardener myself. My limit is really hedge trimming and cutting the grass, but that sounds like my kind of gardening.
The landscape would go on to inspire artists like Turner and poets like the Wordsworths. Queen Victoria visited in 1844, and now it attracts visitors from all over the world. Sadly, in recent years, some of the larch trees have been felled due to disease, but this place is still incredible. Burns has over 60 monuments across the world, and I've seen a few of them. The one overlooking the Brigadoon in Alloway used to be my favourite.
But now I'm not so sure.